the tough part, and being an immigrant myself, I can completely understand. Obviously, new Australians come into the country and they are trained or given opportunities to upskill. Painting's one of them because it's a relatively easy process to learn, but it's something you need a long time in to actually get a good skill set in. But they're not delivered the training correctly, and then they're sort of thrown out into the workforce and trying to make it as a painter, but they don't really have the skill sets to do it correctly, and that's not their fault. That starts at I would imagine, I don't know if I can say a government level, I suppose, but there's a way they need to be trained better. That's what we're passionate about training apprentices correctly in a 4-year apprenticeship across the broad spectrum of paint application processes, so that if they choose to stay on with us and continue their career, that's amazing. But at the same time, if they want to go out and do their own thing, then we've delivered someone to the public or to the trade sector that can apply those finishes correctly, and also without ripping someone off or causing product failure or any of those things that is just what we see, hear and read about way too much at the moment. That would be the biggest thing, I think. And there's not a lot of businesses that train properly. There's a few, but not many. And without that, the next generation of painters is really going to die hard.
Good day, legends. This is the Profitable Estimator podcast. I'm Joey Hidalgo. Today, I'm chatting with Corey Pont, Managing Director of Top Coat Painting Melbourne.
Hey, dude, how you going?
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Great to have you. So why listen up? 17 plus years on the brush experience, 25, right? 25. Fully qualified, 5-star reputation in high pages, and runs a point cook crew, known for punctual, no mess finishes, and gives back as a committee member, or actually, I believe a leader as well in Wyndham BizNet, boosting local SMEs.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm on the committee for Wyndham BizNet, one of the local networking groups we have here in Wyndham Vale.
Wonderful. Okay, together we'll unpack the first job profit leaks in painting and real solutions for the trade skills gap. Now, let's dive in.
Sure.
Corey, what pulled a Kiwi-trained painter across to Australia and into running one of the Wyndham's busiest crews?
It's a long story, really, but as most young blokes do, we chase young ladies over here, I suppose. I came over back in 2005 with about $1,800 cash in my pocket and my entire life on my back and a backpack. So, and just worked my way out from there. It was pretty easy to find work. As you know yourself, in Melbourne, there's just work everywhere. If you're good at what you do, know how to apply yourself, you can get a job anywhere. So that was a big eye-opener for me because I was fresh out of my time as well. So probably about 6 months to a year outside of being qualified. And yeah, just worked my way through working for some of the large Greek and Italian crews through Toorak, South Yarra, all the really high-end suburbs, working on sort of $5 to $10 million homes, things I'd never seen before. And I really elevated my skill set really quickly working in and around those environments. And then 2010, wife and I moved back to New Zealand for her career, and again just worked as a subcontractor over there because it was easy to pick up work and learn a few more things around subcontracting, sort of what you can and can't do, learn a bit more business operation. I wouldn't say much, but learn a bit more how to apply myself in a situation to make more money rather than just working for you 40 hours a week. And then 2015, it was time to come back to raise our family. So when we came back here again, I started working for a mate of mine, and he said to me, "Mate, you're too good. You should not be doing this for an hourly rate for me. Get out there and get your own work." And as it happened, I picked up a couple of jobs here and there, and we just found a couple of lead generating websites that were just starting up and approached us and said, "Would you be interested at reduced rates and all that sort of thing?" And it kind of just kicked off from there. And we'd sort of realised, particularly out in the west, where, as you know, Wyndham Vale is the fastest growing suburb in at least Victoria, potentially Australia, I think. And we realised that whilst there's, I think it's like 28,000 businesses, and like at least, I can't remember the exact numbers, but 1,000 of those are painters. There was no high-end quality experience being applied in the painting industry, let alone any training out this side, except for those involved with the Dulux Accredited program, which we made a goal of ours to become a part of as well. Started that off in 2016, rest is history.
Awesome. Take us back to the very first project you won, like you just said, right? You won under the Top Coat banner. And what lesson from that job still guides your coding today?
From a quoting perspective, I actually remember that job. It was through one of Kylie, my wife's workmates, and I priced it all. I didn't have any materials or like tools to do the job, so to speak, so I had to purchase all of those as well. And it was the first and only time I made the mistake of, in the quote, when I submitted the quote and I had the labour content, I submitted the materials separated cost with that too, which you just don't do that. So I didn't know what I was doing. I think I underquoted it from a labour perspective as well, and I found myself working until 6, 8 o'clock at night just to try to get stuff done within the time to get it done. But that was a big eye-opener at that stage. Probably the next one was starting to knuckle down things like our terms and conditions, because we'd submit quotes without any need of the client to sign them, to lock them in to those terms. They could change stuff anytime. We didn't have any terms and conditions. The scope was pretty generic. So those are probably the first mistakes. Yeah, it was the first mistakes that I'd sort of made, because you have no leg to stand on when they go, oh, you're supposed to include this in the quote. Like, well, no, as you can see here in the quote that you've signed, that's not what I'm meant to do. So that was probably the first things I learned from the perspective.
Okay, wonderful. Now, fast forward to 2025. What's the main focus for Top Coat right now? Like niche finishes, scaling up, or community impact?
Probably all of the above, to be honest. We do want to grow a bit more, not massively. I don't want to be one of those 20 guys firms. That's a management nightmare. And I think sometimes less is more. To have a good, smaller crew of highly experienced, really good team members just delivers the same project. We also do a lot of commercial stuff as well. So we love working in the commercial space, whether it is the defence sector, in the government, which we've just completed a whole lot of acoustic upgrades for our Prime Minister's office and a few other places at Parliament House. We do a lot of medical marijuana facilities when they become refitted and rebuilt, all those sorts of things. That's sort of where we want to head. I'd like to keep the residential stuff. That's where we train our apprentices, and they get that experience of working in around what we call our mums and dads in their homes, and simple things like cutting and rolling walls, prepping weatherboards, things like that. But yeah, that's sort of where we're heading towards. I think a couple more people on the team, a bit more of a good commercial pipeline, and a little bit,
You guys are getting busy. Yeah, we noticed that. Okay.
Just to jump back to you, actually, while I think of it. So, yeah, the special finishes, we're actually working into that. Things like the Porter's fresco, the stone paint finishes, all of those sort of really niche stuff, wallpaper as well, hang wallpaper too. So all of those things are starting to come back. And there's not too many guys that know how to do it well. And we're able to supply those, particularly to our commercial clients that have like a retail space where they really want to go, bang, this is, when you walk in, that's what it looks like. So that's where we want to get more into that too, because they're fun to apply.
Yeah. I imagine. Oh my God. Thank you for sharing that. So everyone talks about the trade shortage, yet nothing seems to shift. From your business seat, what practical fix are we still missing?
By the trade shortage, do you mean the work shortage or the skilled person
All the
shortage?
Skills, right? Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, there is, I think. The tough part, and being an immigrant myself, I can completely understand. Obviously, new Australians come into the country and they are trained or given opportunities to upskill. Painting's one of them, because it's a relatively easy process to learn, but it's something you need a long time in to actually get a good skill set in. But they're not delivered the training correctly, and then they're sort of thrown out into the workforce and trying to make it as a painter, but they don't really have the skill sets to do it correctly. And that's not their fault. That starts at I would imagine, I don't know if I can say government level, I suppose, but there's a way they need to be trained better. That's what we're passionate about training apprentices correctly in a 4-year apprenticeship across the broad spectrum of paint application processes, so that if they choose to stay on with us and continue their career, that's amazing. But at the same time, if they want to go out and do their own thing, then we've delivered someone to the public or to the trade sector that can apply those finishes correctly, and also without ripping someone off or causing product failure or any of those things that, is just what we see, hear and read about way too much at the moment. That would be the biggest thing, I think. And there's not a lot of businesses that train properly. There's a few, but not many. And without that, the next generation of painters is really going to die hard.
Wow. Okay. Well, at least top coat painting is doing that portion, their share, right? So
we're trying to.
So painters often bleed margin on prep and variations. Where do you see the biggest profit leaks and how do you plug them?
The biggest profit leaks generally when a job is, if you underestimate a time on a job, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes you'll look at something and you go, no, it should only take this long for a couple of guys. And let's for argument's sake, it's a week painting for 2 guys, and a week as being 5 working days. And let's say 7 to 8 working days, they're still there finishing it up. So you've only allowed 5 days of labor, right? Plus materials, everything else, and you're starting to bleed in to your profit margin. If you've even set one, if you're still pretty junior at pricing, you probably haven't set your markup or anything else on top of that to allow for that, which I have a measuring company to thank for to open my eyes to that sort of thing.
Appreciate that.
That's the biggest thing, and it's allowing enough time, being smart enough to go, okay, that job's going to take 5 days for 2 guys, but I'm going to add 2 more days for slippage. And then being comfortable submitting that price, because you'll look at it and go, oh, gee, that's quite expensive. But at the same time, if you don't allow for that and it goes sideways, then you're doing the job for free and you might as well not turn up to work anyway, because you're for free. You're better off sitting at home going broke, as they say.
Correct. So, well, at least thank you so much for that. Now, you're renowned for 5-star punctuality. What systems keep your crew turning up on time and leaving sites spotless?
Just training and expectation. Starting from obviously my level, I moved down to my team leaders and sort of say, especially with our apprentices, this is the expectation. It doesn't always go to plan, obviously. Traffic, people being sick, all kinds of stuff can cause those delays. The biggest thing, if you're not going to be somewhere when you say you're going to be there, is to communicate that. And that's probably the biggest thing I know of with all of our builders, commercial or residential, that upsets them the most is that when a trade lets them down because they don't turn up when they say they're going to. And most of the time we do, but we're only human and we don't. But when we're not going to be there, it's a phone call or text message. Hey mate, terribly sorry, stuck in traffic. This has happened. Staff member's sick. I'm going to be an hour late, or unfortunately we're not going to make it there today, but this is what I've got for you, to make up for it. And that phone call, that's as good as being on time, because as I said, we are all human. These things happen.
Agree. Totally remember one of the visits that I did with you on one of those projects that you're doing out there. I think one of the projects for Brooke, if I remember. I saw your crew and you all early on that, and I was obviously trying to help you out as well on that other project you're working on. So it's really evident, shall we say. Now, rapid fire future questions. Let me, probably question is, biggest growth sector by 2030 that you see?
I think in the construction industry, the growth sectors, I think it's still new homes because of Vale. There's so many people moving out this way.
Right.
There's definitely been an uplift in the commercial sector as well, but yeah, I think from a residential perspective, we do okay work-wise, but I think the volume build industry is still kind of kicking off a bit more. Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one.
That's okay. All good. Okay. Thank you for that. Now, most overhyped tech you hear out there?
We use a lot of tech. We use good tech too.
But there's right now, there's more like a robotics that would paint the whole house.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, absolutely not. Like, I mean, sure, I've seen machines on, Instagram or Facebook lay tiles and things like that. I've seen machines spray walls, but that's on a program that it's programmed to do. So you don't have, it doesn't have the ability to make a decision like a human does or move like a human does. I think you'll never take away the paint application that a human can do unless you can come up with some kind of painting robot that can move like we can. Who knows, maybe 100 years time that might be a thing, but a robot doesn't have the passion that a person does to take pride in their work and what they do.
Great. And well, technically the cutting out just the corners or the cornice and also the door jamb, right? How do you cut that on painting with a
well, yeah, great question. I mean, I'm not a robot, and it took me quite a while and a lot of practice to get that right. Some people pick it up quicker than others, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they can with some programming, who knows, but I just don't think you're not going to get the flair and personality that's put into a project from versus a human who has love for what they do.
Couldn't agree more. Most underrated profit lever for painting firms.
What do you mean by profit lever?
Let's just say that can actually create more profitability for you out there.
To be honest, the special finishes are actually pretty good from that perspective, because it takes a lot of training to be able to put them on correctly, and to do that obviously comes with a price tag to do it as well, whereas at the end of the day it's just labor and materials, but not everyone can apply it. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a hard one to try to be generic, because obviously you start talking about what makes you the most money and everyone's going to jump on it too.
Nah, all good. We want to make sure it's also. Okay. Well, probably one last thing that I want to ask is, you mentor other Wyndham businesses through BizNet.
Yeah.
What one piece of advice you would actually give to new tradie owners?
New tradie owners, be prepared to work your ass off and not make any money for a while. My first 5 years in business was 7 days a week, 13, 14 hours a day, making enough to cover expenses, put food on the table and cover living costs. But the hardest part is getting your reputation and your name out there. Because if you can paint, you can paint. That's enough, or whatever your trade is. But people need to trust that, and they need to be able to call you knowing, let's use this guy because he's got a good reputation. That just takes time, grinding, and hard work. And the statistic, I think, is 99% of businesses or people fail that in the first year. Just don't give up. I don't have any quit. There's no quit in me. I'd like to lose, period. So if it gets harder, I just knuckle down and go, no, I ain't going to lose this one. So you just got to stick at it. Or not. If you don't want to, that's fine. But if it's something you really want to do, don't give it up. Keep grinding. Get the name out there. Produce good work. Be reliable. That's all I can say.
Well, thank you so much for that. Very inspiring. Legends, if Corey's insights spark an idea, hit follow, drop a rating, and share this episode with a tradie mate who still says near enough is good enough. Again, Corey, thank you so much for this. Really appreciate this opportunity to interview you, and I hope to share the world the story that you have here, and more success.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Joey. It was a pleasure. It was fun. It's good.
Thank you so much. Okay.